You've been lied to your entire life, not by a villain, not by some shadowy conspiracy, but by the most well-meaning people you know, your parents, your teachers, your grandparents sitting at the dinner table telling you, just save your money and you'll be fine. And here's the cruel part. They weren't wrong when they said it. The world they were describing actually existed, but that world is gone. And in the world we're living in right now, saving money the way they taught you isn't just unhelpful, it's quietly destroying your financial future. The math on this is brutal, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Let's start with a simple question. Where does your money go when you save it? For most people, the answer is a savings account, and that sounds completely reasonable. Safe, responsible, smart. But here's the number that changes everything. The average savings account in the United States pays an interest rate of around 0.5%. Some of the big banks, Chase, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, are paying as low as 0.01%. Let that sink in for a second. If you have $10,000 sitting in a savings account at 0.01% interest, at the end of the year, the bank hands you back $1. $1. Meanwhile, the bank takes your $10,000, lends it out at 7, 8, 9%, and keeps the difference. So the bank is getting rich off your money while you collect enough to buy a pack of gum. But even that isn't the real problem. The real problem has a name, and that name is inflation. Inflation is simply the rate at which prices rise over time, and the official target the Federal Reserve uses is 2% per year, meaning the government plans for your money to be worth 2% less every single year. That's not an accident, that's policy. But here's where the math gets brutal. If your savings account is earning 0.5% and inflation's running at 2%, you are losing 1.5% of your purchasing power every year, silently, automatically, without a single headline. Think of it this way. Imagine you put $10,000 under your mattress today. In 10 years, that $10,000 still says $10,000. The number hasn't changed, but what it can buy has shrunk by nearly 20%. That coffee that costs $5 today costs $6.10 in 10 years. That $1,500 rent becomes $1,830. That $30,000 car becomes $36,000. Your money didn't move, but the world moved around it and it left your savings behind. This is what economists call the hidden tax. Nobody takes it from you directly. It just evaporates, quietly, every single year. And the worst part? In the years where inflation runs hot, like 2022, when it hit 9.1% in the US, the gap becomes catastrophic. 0.5% savings rate minus 9.1% inflation equals negative 8.6%. That means for every $10,000 you had in savings in 2022, you effectively lost $860 in purchasing power in a single year, not because you spent it, not because the market crashed, just because you saved it. There's a concept in finance called the rule of 72. It's a simple formula. You take the number 72, divide it by your interest rate, and that tells you how many years it takes for your money to double. At 7% returns, like a basic index fund, your money doubles every 10 years. At 0.5%, the average savings account, your money doubles every 144 years. 144 years. Your great-great-grandchildren might see that money double. You won't. Now let's put some real numbers behind this. Say you're 25 years old. You have $20,000 saved, and you want to retire at 65. That's 40 years. If you put that $20,000 in an index fund averaging 7% returns, by the time you're 65, that $20,000 becomes roughly $300,000 without adding a single extra dollar. If instead you leave it in a savings account at 0.5%, that same $20,000 becomes, $24,400. Same money, same 40 years. One path gives you $300,000. The other gives you $24,400. That $275,000 gap, that's the cost of being responsible the wrong way. And before someone in the comments says it, yes, high-yield savings accounts exist. Some are paying 4 to 5% right now, but even that barely keeps up with average inflation. You're not building wealth. You're just running fast enough to stay in place. Now here's where this gets uncomfortable. Because none of this is an accident. The entire system, from low savings rates to how inflation is measured, is structured to push money in a specific direction. When the Fed prints money and keeps interest rates low, it punishes savers and rewards borrowers and asset owners. Think about who owns assets: stocks, real estate, businesses. It's not the 25-year-old trying to save $500 a month. It's the people who are already wealthy. And so here's the dark irony. The more responsibly you save in the traditional sense, the further behind you fall relative to anyone who owns assets. Because while your $10,000 sits in a savings account, losing 2% a year to inflation, the S&P 500 has averaged around 10% returns annually over the last 50 years. US home prices have multiplied more than sixfold since 1980. The assets go up, the savings sit still, the gap widens, and every year that passes is compounding that gap in the wrong direction. That's not a motivation speech. That's just the math. Now let me be clear about something. I'm not telling you not to save money. Having an emergency fund, 3 to 6 months of expenses in cash, is not optional. It's the foundation. Without it, one bad month wipes out everything else. But there is a massive difference between saving money and parking money, because the moment your emergency fund is built, every extra dollar you leave sitting in a savings account is a dollar working against you in slow motion. The alternative isn't complicated, but it does require you to change the story you were told about what safe actually means. Because in today's world, the riskiest thing you can do is let your money sit still in a world that never stops moving. Safe used to mean savings account. Now, safe means making sure your money grows at least as fast as inflation. And historically, the simplest way most people have done that is a low-cost index fund that tracks the broad market, not individual stocks, not crypto, not your cousin's business idea. Just boring, diversified, long-term index investing. Is it guaranteed? No. Markets go up and down. But over every 20-year period in the history of the US stock market, the index has gone up. Every single one. The risk isn't in the investment. The real risk is in doing nothing. And that's the brutal truth they never taught us in school. Because save your money is only half a sentence. The full sentence is save your money, then put it to work. Because money sitting still isn't safe. It's just dying slowly in a place that feels comfortable. The math doesn't care how disciplined you are. It doesn't care how responsible you feel. It only cares what you do with the money. And right now, millions of people are doing the responsible thing, watching their savings account balance grow every month and wondering why they still feel behind. Now you know why. If this video made you think differently about your money, subscribe, because the next one goes even deeper into how the system is quietly designed to keep most people exactly where they are.